Imagine making a $30,000 mistake when buying a dental practice. Imagine not knowing what questions to ask or how to build a team when making the most important decision of your dental life. My name is Dr. Paul Goodman, Dr. Nacho, and I don't have to imagine that because I made those mistakes in 2011. I didn't know what questions to ask when buying a dental practice. I didn't know working with a dual representation broker is nacho nuts. A dual representation broker claims to be able to represent your interest and the interest of the selling dentist at the same time. So if you only listen to this much, just know that working with a dual representation broker can burn your nachos in making the most important decision of your dental life. My goal as Dr. Paul Goodman, Dr. Nacho, is to help you with the 4 most important decisions you will make in your entire dentisting career, or what I call the circle of dentisting life. Finding your first job, buying your first practice, hiring your first associate, and selling your only practice. Dental school teaches us a lot about the Krebs cycle and how to make a mediocre bite rim, but not enough about our dentisting core. What is our dentisting core? The decisions we make with our mind, the words we say, which are ultra important, our clinical skills, and at the center of it all, our heart, who we look to help, and the impact we look to make. Making mistakes in the 4 biggest decisions of your dentisting career can cause so many problems. And I want to give you actionable takeaways in each one of those steps. So let's talk about finding your first job. What is some common mistake dentists make is starting too late. Finding your first job should start day 1 of D1, not applying for that job, finding it. ABC, always be connecting. Meeting people in industry who can help. Who are these people if you're a dental student? Who should you reach out to? Go to in-person CE events. Sit next to dentists that look older than you and meet them. They may not be looking for an associate, but they may have a friend who's also looking. When you go to sign an associate contract, do not sign one without having a dental-focused attorney review it. As Dr. Nacho, founder of a 30,000 member plus Facebook group, I get poignant messages daily from dental associates who did not have anyone review their contract and now they have a problem. Problem getting paid, problem with their restrictive covenant. So get a dental-focused attorney to review your contract. Nothing bad happens. Either the dental-focused attorney says, hey, this contract looks pretty good, let's ask for a few things here, but if we don't get these things, it's still a good contract. Or they say, there's 14 red flags and I haven't gotten to page 2 of that contract. So that's finding your first job, buying your first practice. The mistake I made was with us buying a second practice, but we overpaid by at least $30,000, and here's why. Cash flow is so important. So this $300,000 practice was only profiting $100,000. So another actionable takeaway. A good way to value a practice is 2 times the net profit, 1.5 to 2 times the net profit, not just 70% of collections. So this broker valued it at $215,000 and we just paid it. There were no Facebook groups, there were no podcasts, we didn't have information on this, we just paid the asking price. And I know that we could have paid at least $30,000 less because it was a practice that was in distress. So if you're buying a practice that's in distress, the owner is sick, they have to sell quickly. That is an unfortunate life circumstance for the selling dentist. But you as the buyer, that practice doesn't have the same value as one where the owner might be able to stay on afterwards. So buying your first dental practice is so important. As someone who helps dentists sell their dental practices, I meet dentists at the end of their career, and they have often had multiple houses, sometimes multiple spouses, but just one dental practice. So what does that mean? That one dental practice will stick with you through your career. The third thing, hiring your first associate. When to know, do you need an associate? Let me tell you the story of my best friend, Todd. Todd didn't know if he needed an associate, but he knew he was very stressed. He was super successful, amazing fee-for-service practice in Center City, Philadelphia, a fantastic dentist and an even better person, but he didn't know how to find an associate and how to incorporate that associate into his practice. I just met with him recently. He hired this associate 2 years ago, said it was the best decision of his dental career. So what are the 5 questions you need to ask and be able to answer when hiring an associate? Why am I looking for an associate? Where is the position? How will the associate be compensated? Dental school debt's a lot different from even when I went. So these young dentists have to be compensated enough to pay their debt, pay their rent, pay their food, things like that. Learn things. So how, what, where, when, why? Those are the 5 questions. Where is the job? Why do you need an associate? How will they be compensated? What procedures will the associate do most of the time? And also, what fun things are there to do in the area? Because there's more to life than just dentisting. And as we wrap up, selling your only practice It's such a key point in the career of a dentist. Sell your practice and hang up the handpiece. There should be some ceremony where you hang up the handpiece and ride off into the sunset. But you can't do that unless you sell this practice, which is a very complex transaction. Not only do you need a person, you need a person who is a dentist, licensed in that state, wanting to live in that area and be able to get financing for your practice. So one of my best pieces of advice, start early. Connect with brokers, ask good questions, connect with accountants, build your team. I'm a huge fan of basketball. My dream was to play in the NBA. That dream didn't come true. But who would be on this starting five? A dental-focused attorney, a dental-focused accountant, a financial coach, a confidant, a personal confidant that you can ask questions to, a bank along the way too. So these are people that you want to put on your practice transition team and meet them early. Developing relationships is key. So it all goes back to developing this dental focused core, this dental core of your mind, your words, your hand skills. At Dental Nachos, what we do is we want to help you make good dental life decisions. Help learn from mistakes that other dentists have made, like me, when I didn't have information on how to value a practice, how to work with brokers, and how to navigate this sometimes nacho nuts dentisting business world. I love helping dentists. Our goal is to connect us more together with these ABCs. Always be connecting, always be caring. No one really likes going to the dentist, so we may as well like each other. I think this is a special time for us all to bond together. And I want to be part of the solution in making that happen.
Welcome everyone to our awesome What to Do After Your First Year in Dental School. This is Paul, Dr. Nacho Goodman. I am working all alone. It's like working without a dental assistant on a Sunday night, but so thrilled. Apparently, this is a good night for people to be able to watch in because we have so many people watching in. This is going to be fun. This is going to be about the ABCs. Always be connecting, always be caring. We have an awesome panelist of people who have given up their Sunday evening. Maybe some have had to do bedtime without their kids. Hey, Jordan, you could drop back for 1 second. I'll call everybody up individually. 1 sec. Love that mic there, Jordan. Good job. So, one of my favorite things is just to give away free stuff. So if you text FETCH to 215-543-6454, you will get a $200 Nacho CE gift code to get on-demand CE. You want to get a course from Dr. Todd Fleischman on aesthetic dentistry, get it. You want to get a soft tissue grafting course, get it. You want to get a course on how to talk to patients without sounding weird, get it. Text FETCH is a nod to one of my childhood movies, Clueless, because we do not want dentistry to be the mean girls of dentistry. We want to create a community where we're all friendly. So we're going to bring people up. You're going to meet them. They're going to share about themselves for 2 or 3 minutes. Please ask questions in the Q&A. It's really difficult for an exhausted 43-year-old dad, that's me, to figure out how to do the questions from the chat. So just go over to the Q&A, drop your question in because we're going to have question time at the end. So the first person I would like to talk to can start his video is Ken. Ken, if you can join us on the Nacho Zoom TV stage. Hey, Ken. So hello, Ken, hello. One of my things are dentists are people too. Our patients don't always think that, but let's just say, who are you? Where are you sitting here on earth? When did you graduate from dental school? And what was your first move after dental school? GPR, retire and be a high-level breakdancer? What was your first move?
First and foremost, thank you, Paul, for creating a space for us to have a conversation. As Paul said, my name is Ken Wonkwo. I'm a dentist in Dallas, Texas. I just moved from Stowe, Ohio. My wife just finished her GPR up in Akron at Summa Health. And so right now we're just living life in Dallas, doing dentistry. I graduated from my accidental program in 2017. Cool. And then I did my GPR from 2017 to 2018. And then from there, I went to Texas. And then my wife did her graduate dental school, did her program in Ohio. And we just got back literally 3 weeks ago, well, 2 weeks ago today or yesterday, back to Texas.
Cool. Where'd your wife do her GPR? Same place?
You did her GPR in Akron, Ohio at Summa Health. GPR.
Cool. And so I've been to the decision-making process. A couple of things that you shared there, where I'm very passionate about building Dentist Job Connect. Jill, our directors here, and also Serena, because there's a lot of mobility of dentists to try to find jobs. We have a list of jobs. You can apply to over 100 jobs right now just by texting job to 215-543-6454. If you're a D2, you can just check out these jobs. But Ken, tell me about that first decision after dental school. Break down for me, why did you do a GPR? You could have gone right into private practice. Was it from your mentors? Tell me a little bit about that decision-making process.
Great question. So I did my GPR, just to tell you the where, is in Seattle, Washington at Swedish Hospital. My decision came from, I know that there's more to learn after you finish D4. My mentor in Texas, I went to Texas A&M College of Dentistry in Dallas. My mentor does special care dentistry. So when you make a decision, you have to know your why.
Gotcha.
What is your why behind doing dentistry? Is it to make money? Not the best option for you. If it's to serve patients, you're in the right field. So welcome, happy to have you here. So for me, my desire was I wanted to treat special care patients, patients who are differently abled patients. And so I got a chance to check out a special care GPR that was focused in special care, and that was in Seattle. I knew that a GPR would allow me to add value to whatever practice I chose to go into after I completed that program. And as you're thinking about going out from dental school D4 and then going into the workforce, you want to make sure that you want to add value. At the end of the day, you are a dentist, you're a doctor, you know stuff, but you want to make sure that any doctor that you're kind of getting into an associateship with or in partnership, how are you bringing up? How are you building up? How are you cultivating?
And what I wanted to talk about, Ken, for a couple things. And this is about, I mean, I'm the JVN guy, just be nice. That means that if someone does a PFM crown and someone else does a zirconia crown, don't call them the worst dentist in the world because they did. But JBR, just be realistic, talk about some of the things, the spicy toppings, share with us, how is a GPR a lot different than the D4 year? Some of the concerns I hear, which are valid, I did GPR too, is I don't want just another 5th year of dental school. What did you do to research programs, and how is this having an impact on you in your private practice job now?
Great question. So for me, it was literally going online, looking at different programs, decide what you want to do, an AEGD or GPR. That's a great question, Paul. Figure out what you want to do. AEGD is more private practice focused. A GPR is more hospital focused. And so already at the front end, a GPR is not going to be a 5th year dental school. You're going to be in the hospital doing OR. I mean, I was doing OR cases on kids and doing full mouth reconstruction on kids. And then also special care adults, those patients who are, like I said, differently abled, so autistic, Down syndrome patients. So that's what the nature is. And so for me, it was also asking people who had already gone through the program before, hey, what did you do? Because I had people from years ahead of me. Remember, always ask questions of those who have walked before you. Ask them, so what program did you do? How did you like it? What was the ins and outs, the pros and cons? What are the glowing points and the growing points? So for my program, what I liked my program, I love surgery. I was on track to be an oral surgeon. I realized I just love talking to people. So I was like, no, let me be a general dentist. And so my program, unbeknownst to me, actually had a lot of surgery. So we did implants. I did a bunch of thoromolar extractions, full mouth cases. We did other general dentistry too, but those were the big part of it. And so when I got out of, the residency, my first job in Dallas, Texas, the owner that I worked with, I was an associate for, she would send all her thirds to me. She would say, Dr. Ken,
I want to pause. I always say this. I talk a lot of it, probably knows. And I say to my wife, I'm not interrupting, I'm just interjecting. But Dr. Marcus Cowan is coming to Super Dentist Boost. Marcus is an amazing 6'7" dentist who does all kinds of, he did a 2-year GPR. And one of the things I want to share with you, when you're in private practice, the more toppings you can offer patients responsibly, the more opportunity to both create revenue for yourself, which is important, and also help patients. So I just want to share with you, when you said you could get thirds referred to you in the practice, that's such a cool opportunity because the owner of the practice doesn't want to do them. You can responsibly do the ones you want to do, not necessarily a horizontally impacted tooth against the nerve, and the patient can stay there. So Ken, I'm going to bring you back at the end, but I'd love if you dropped in the chat just your contact info if you're comfortable, because someone I would love, if you're watching, reach out to Ken. You're an amazing leader online. First time we've got to see each other face to face. I know we're going to see each other in person. Hang around to the end of the show. So we went. Perfect. Thanks. You could drop back. So now we have someone who did a GPR 3 years out of school. Let's switch or shift gears. I'm going to bring up Jordan Barnett for a few minutes. He is an awesome dentist human who didn't do a GPR. He left dental school and plunged right into the cold, shark-infested real world. And as you can see, he can barely afford he can. You can afford a mic and a fancy haircut, Jordan. So you must be doing okay. So tell us who you are, where you are, when you graduated dental school, and tell us your why. Why did you choose a path out of dental school that didn't include a GPR?
Well, I just want to say thanks to everyone. Can everyone hear me? Paul, can you hear me okay? Good. Well, I just want to say thanks so much. Like Ken said, I think this is an awesome opportunity, and I'm really happy to be sharing our experiences with everyone. And I kind of like to mirror what Paul usually says is all dentists and humans are my favorite kind of humans because we're the craziest humans. And I just want to make sure that all of us are happy with what we do because I think happy dentists are the best at dentistry.
Super important.
Right. And so for me, I graduated from UOP last year during 2020, which is the most awesome year to graduate dental school ever. And yeah, I came back to where I'm from, Fresno, which is my local college here, Fresno State. Very proud alumni from there. And for me, kind of like what Ken said, my why was I want to come back to my hometown, which is where I'm at right now. Because I knew that my community was underserved, and I knew that I thought the dental IQ or the medical IQ in general was pretty low in my area, and I thought that someone from here that was able to go out, get the training, and come back, that's what I thought my community needed, and I thought that's where I was used the best. So
love that, Jordan. You have a ton of stuff you're going to share us, but let's just drill down, pun intended. Tell me about this decision, whether you're a D3, early D4. Why did you say, hey, I am not going to apply to an AEGD or GPR. I'm going to go directly into private practice. Tell me about that decision time, because you must have heard about GPRs, AEGDs.
Definitely.
Your friends might have done them. Tell us, just share with the audience, with D1s, D2s, D3s. People are going to be hiring dentists. My sister wants to learn more about this process. Tell us about why did you say, hey, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go this route directly into private practice.
So for me specifically during undergrad, I actually volunteered at the Fresno GPR program. I was there for I was there and I met 3 different cohorts of dental residents because there's an OMFS residency as well as a GPR that's interconnected. And so I got to talk that's a 10 student resident 10 resident program every year. So I talked to 30 different people who were just like the people in this group, which was 1 year out of their program, and talking to them throughout the course of their year. A lot of them just felt like they didn't get a whole lot of experience. Some of them did, some of them didn't. Obviously Ken, right? And many people, especially if we go to Paul's GPR, AEGD, you're going to get the best experience. But for a lot of people, just like dental school, the experiences were, it was a myriad of experiences. Some were super great, some weren't. And for me,
I want to pause you 1 second here. So first, I just want to share, because you and Ken are both great. I make a lot of jokes about implants versus teeth, GPR versus no GPR. So just 10 minutes in this show, you see someone as awesome as Ken, someone as awesome as Jordan, who are both surviving, both thriving, but both picking the right option for them, just like treatment plan. But something's happening right now, which is awesome. So I see questions in the chat, and I really appreciate the panelists answering them, like Ben and Jordan. Someone said, I was wondering what year of dental school is the right time to start looking into associate jobs or a GPR. So once again, I say, if you're sitting there, just take out your phone and text this number here. You can see 114 open jobs. I say, look, starting to find a job starts day 1 of D1. Starting to apply for a job is a different time. So when did you start applying for your jobs, Jordan?
I started applying my second year. Again, I knew I wanted to come to Fresno, and I went to San Francisco or University of the Pacific in downtown San Francisco. So I was coming home actually every week, starting my second year. And I was starting to network and go to lunch, or I couldn't afford lunch, so I would take them to coffee, just talking to dentists or dentisting humans. And I mentioned in that chat, the question and answer, that I was reaching out to specialists in lab or dental laboratories. Why? Because who's the best people to speak on general dentists are the people that are referring patients, right? As well as the people who are actually looking at models of their work. And so talking with them, that's who I first started with.
Such a great point. We have a whole YouTube on you, Jordan, and I know you over prepare for so many things. So we have a whole interview with you, and at the end of the show, I'm going to have you bring up your presentation. But Jordan is just so amazing in what he shares, and we did a whole 30-minute show. So if you want to see the Jordan show, just text Jordan Show to 215-543-6454. We will text it back to you. Not immediately. This isn't really HBO up here, but tomorrow I'll get my team to text it back to you.
Well, thank you, Paul.
Another question we had in the chat is, do you have a good work-life balance during a GPR? So anyone in the panelists wants to answer that. So Jordan, we're going to bring you back at the end for a longer talk. I want you to put in the chat your best contact info. But let me ask you this question. What is something you wish someone told you earlier in the process? Even if you're successful, even if you're happy, I know you might have shifted some jobs. You might have started one. I mean, maybe that's a good one. How can you get, I don't want to use a negative word like trick, but how can your expectations be mismanaged when you think this about this job and it doesn't turn out that way? What do you wish someone had told you?
I guess my biggest thing is just a real life thing is that all dentists are people. And just because just because you have doctor in front of your name doesn't mean that you're not fallible. People are people. And unfortunately, that means that they can make bad decisions. And also, you as a dentist, while you love the teeth, you love the patients, they don't always love you. And that's an unfortunate truth of what we do. But actually, I think that's maybe the most interesting and unique opportunity of what we do is that we can turn something that most people would view as uncomfortable at best and just terrible at worst. We can make that a really positive experience. And I didn't fall in love with complexity, meaning that I know dental school loves to tell you that implants are so cool. And look at this one, it has the crazy impacted third. Look at I pulled it.
Yeah.
But also, an occlusal filling is an occlusal filling. That's a medical procedure as well. And if you can home run that, then you can home run a lot of things. And this is a
One of
great
the themes
career.
I'll share is, you know, what's most likely, right? What is the most likely procedure you're going to be doing most of the time? Restorative dentistry. So while you get an opportunity to do other things, you want to make sure your core chips are that. Well, awesome, Jordan. Drop back. We'll bring
Absolutely.
you up later. So we've
Thanks,
talked
guys.
to somebody who did a GPR in Ken, someone who didn't do a GPR in Jordan. They're panelists asking questions, sharing this whole point of this. Now let's bring up an AEGD program director and Dr. Ben Kellum. Ben, you can start your video. He has to go third because the best hitters are third. So he's going third here.
Good.
So a couple of things. First, I want to ask Ben about being a program director, but I also want to share that Dental Nachos and Ben's awesome Transcendental CE are starting to collaborate. They have free, I know your favorite price, free. I'm going to put in the chat how you can find out.
Great.
Free spots for residents to learn about digital dentistry, free spots for residents to learn about digital dentistry, and new grad discounts. When you text in this number, we'll get you that information for how you can do that. But Ben, put on your AG program director hat and also share where you are, your graduation date from dental school, and your journey since then.
Sure. So Ben Kellum, I'm currently in Huntsville, Alabama, but I went to Oklahoma for dental school. I actually did a residency in AGD out in Idaho. Went into private practice after that for several years at a denture and implant clinic. And then I ran an AGD residency program with 11 residents in Birmingham, Alabama called the Foundry Dental Center. So,
Now, Boundary, so one of the things being Dr. Nacho, it's not all just total glam as people think, right? Not all just your phone blowing up with Facebook messages. I've heard so much about the Foundry as being a special place, the Foundry. So tell us what makes it special. I know it's your place, but you're allowed to brag about your place. I've seen it online. I've seen people post, but tell us what makes this such a special program.
yeah. So one thing that's really neat is it's a Christian community center. So the patients we saw, we were affiliated with the Drug Recovery Center. So almost all the patients that I saw and the residents saw were coming through an intensive drug recovery program, a lot of full mouth extractions and implants. Because of partnerships we have with manufacturers, instead of just yanking their teeth and getting them in dentures, we were able to get them into overdentures and hybrids. There's probably more people in hybrids in this very, very rundown part of Birmingham, Alabama than Malibu currently. So it's kind of a weird dynamic, but also just a really unique opportunity to be around 13 or 14 dentists a day, all learning together and pulling up x-rays and asking questions about what's right and wrong and how to treat a patient and how to talk to a patient.
And I want to interject because I did a multi-year GPR at Albert Einstein. It was the best experience of my life. Back in 2002, I got to learn to place and restore 150 dental implants, which was a huge thing back then because the politics surrounding dental implants 2002 to 2005 were more like GPs can't do it. So it was an amazing experience. But what you shared there was dentists sitting around talking about dentistry to learn. That doesn't happen the same way in private practice, even if it's designed that way, because tomorrow I'm going into work with my brother, Jeff Goodman, restorative dentist, Rob Slough, surgical prosthodontist, and periodontist, Steve Sarakowski. And we have a whole day of patients and big cases, but in private practice, it moves so fast, you just don't get that time bend like you do in residency programs. So it's a magical time. Doesn't mean we don't get it at all, but it's just a great opportunity to just learn in such a supportive environment because the patients are not there for private practice reasons. And once patients are there for private practice reasons, the business environment, it doesn't mean you can't learn. It just means it's very difficult to have procedures last a lot longer than they're supposed to be. Is that maybe an experience you could resonate with?
Yeah, no, I think I told my residents that it's in residency, you don't know anything and I don't know anything either. And we're all kind of trying to figure things out. And when you get in private practice, you feel so much pressure to be perfect and know everything. And also that you can't ask questions, you can't talk to other dentists because That's a weakness. And in residency program, we tried to create a culture where you're coming in here. The whole reason you're here is to learn and to collaborate. And so not much of dentistry is collaborative. That's why I like the nachos. It's trying to be collaborative, but in residency program, that's one thing you really do get is a chance to go, hey, did that work for you? No, it didn't work at all. Okay, what would you do different without? And in private practice, everyone's a little bit more hesitant to talk.
And also, one of the things too is, and I've learned, and I totally agree with you, because we're just in this weird cave mentality, this dental student Hunger Games, dentisting Hunger Games. I mean, at the end of my video, no one likes the dentist. We might as well like each other. I try to help the colleagues in my town as much as I can. I hope they help me. Nobody's really stealing each other's patients. I don't think that's even a thing. I don't know how you steal a patient when you decide to say, come over here, I'm better at crown preps. It's just so weird. But I just think that's so important that for you to realize. Now, tell me about this. You're a program director, and I get a lot of these questions. And I know it's a tough one. I've sat in these interviews. One of the things I want to share is I sat at the Einstein interviews for 4 years, and every single one of these awesome applicants were just fantastic human beings, fantastic dentists. So it was so hard to take 50 dentists and whittle it down to 8 people that we accepted. What are program directors like you looking for? Someone's a D2 or D3. What are some things that might make your application stronger, or just some things you should think about as you go through the dental school process?
Yeah, sure. So amazingly, visiting is just has a tremendous impact. Being present at the program, so the faces that we saw a lot had definitely a better chance of getting in. You could be the best dentist in dental school. Really, we just want someone that's not going to drive us crazy for a year,
Yes.
and someone that's going to be nice and kind to each other. So if you come and tell us how you did, 250 crown preps, but you're annoying to be around, honestly, you're much less likely.
It's so important. So that's why I use this example. I like to start off most of my lectures about my failed dreams of not playing in the NBA, Ben. But it being a team player, as cliche as it is so key, because I've been a chief resident, a fellow, and attending, and it's really like, can I be around this person for the next thing? So working on your team and people skills is important. One of the things I made here, I made a bunch of free stuff for you guys here tonight. I just wanted to get to Ben. There's your gift card. Also, we have one on buying a practice. I'll show these again. But this is the one for Ben, Transcend. So as we wrap up, tell me what's happening at this Transcend Dental C. I was so excited to talk to you guys from the beach last week. Corey Glenn is one of my favorite dentisting humans. Just tell people, if they text in to learn about this, you're going to get the information tomorrow when the Nacho team comes back on. But what are you offering for free? What are you offering for discount? And why are you guys doing this?
Yeah, so Transcend, Corey Glenn is a dentist in Tennessee, and him and I have built a C facility in Huntsville. We have all the doodads and gadgets for digital dentistry, and we're going to be teaching probably a course every 3 weeks at this facility. Our goal is to try to teach from the trenches with everyone. I see a lot of ivory tower teaching where someone's talking down at you. I want to walk along with people. I want to tell them what mistakes I made and help them avoid them. So at Transcend, we just try to teach topics that people don't get much exposure to. Get your hands dirty. We have probably half of the time that's hands-on, so we don't just sit up there and lecture. And then we really like questions. There's no dumb questions, because we really like to get people, when they leave, I know it's crazy, but when you come to learn a topic, we'd like you to leave and actually know what that topic is. So yeah, that's kind of the goal.
Add that to your practice. So I love everything you're doing, Ben. I know you got young kids. If you want to hang around until later, great. Anybody who has to jump off, we're going to kind of do a fun panel after we meet everybody. But if you have to jump off, no problem. But Ben, thanks for being a Nacho fan. Thanks for offering this to us. We really appreciate it. So next, let's shift gears and bring up what is over 50% of our dentists, which is awesome. Some awesome female dentists. So I'd like Dr. Rachel Young to start her video. And this is the power. I mean, I don't know if you think I'm the raddest dad ever, and that rad is not a word that people use in your generation, but I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok a lot. I think TikTok is an amazing platform. You can skip over the stuff that might be not for you, and you can learn so much. But I see Rachel's videos. Please follow her. They're so funny. And I reached out on Facebook. I invited her to share because Rachel has done the thing that many people don't do. She has moved for an associate job. So Rachel, tell us, when you graduated, where you are, what prompted you to make this decision? We'd love to learn.
Sure. I'm Rachel Young. I just graduated 2021 in May. I graduated from Tufts in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm originally from Los Angeles, and I made the move, and I'm currently in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I moved 2 weeks ago, and I start my first day of work tomorrow.
Okay.
Morning.
And I saw this week, we were chatting this week, or I saw you got to shadow some this week. How was that going?
Yes, I mean, it's definitely, I like needed to shadow just the office that you're gonna work in, just to like
Yeah.
see. I mean, first of all, to see how different the real world is from dental school. And on top of that, just to like meet the dental assistants, the dental hygienists, everyone at the office, how everything flows. So I'm definitely glad that I got that experience before I dove in.
And one of the things I really compliment you on is how did you find this job in a place where you didn't live? And what made you say, hey, I'm not going to go into the saturated area, I'm going to go over here? How was the interview process? On our Job Connect platform, we have jobs all over the country. And in Center City, Philadelphia, we have a job that pays $170,000 a year full time. We'll get 15 applicants in a week. Then someone asks for a job in Fargo, North Dakota. It's hard for us to find one, but you'll need one to solve your problem, whether you're getting a job or hiring an associate. Tell us a little about this process of how you found the job, how the interview process went, and what prompted you to do this.
Yeah, so it was actually around August where I started looking, and honestly, I just started talking to just anyone and everyone. And that led to a mutual friend that was working here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He was also from Los Angeles, so I was like, if you can make the move, I think I can make the move. And he had been working here for about like 5 years. He recently moved back to Los Angeles. But that's basically how I found the job. And I reached out to the dental company in October, and they flew me out in November, and then I signed by December.
Awesome. Now, and tell us a little bit of your people self. What's been some of the adjustment? Maybe some of it's fun, maybe some of it's anxiety provoking, maybe a combination of both, of living in a new place. Is your friend there that you met, or do you have any friends in the area, or you just?
No, he left like 2 days after I moved. So, but luckily my younger brother, he also graduated from University Pacific this past May, and he also made the move, not to Tulsa, but to Muskogee, Oklahoma.
Oh, cool.
So at least I have a family member here.
Awesome. And one of the things I think, I really just think it's awesome what you're sharing, and I know you're inspiring so many people right now, is that nothing has to be forever. Our associate who's with me for 5 years from our GPR, he moved across the country because his wife is a medical resident and she got a fellowship. So he had to pick up from New Jersey and go all the way to California. So there's a ton of transition. So maybe you're there for 2 years, Rachel, maybe you're there for the rest of your life, but it doesn't have to. Dennis, I don't know if you noticed, we're a little bit of dramatic thinkers, right? Is this going to be forever? Am I going to buy into this practice? So as we wrap up with your piece, what do you feel most prepared for dental school? When you start your job and you say, dental school really prepared me for this, what skill would you say that is?
I think dental school definitely taught me to be proactive, and ask a lot of questions and know my limits. Like if I need help, I'd have no problem asking for help. And yeah, I mean, I kind of see this as my like mini GPR AEGD moving out here. It's the same as if you were to go to GPR HD in a different city or a different location or different state. So that's kind of just how I viewed it. You just get paid a little bit more.
And one of the things that's happening, which I think is amazingly cool and is becoming more, people are comfortable sharing it, is people doing GPR and AEGDs after being in private practice for a few years, because maybe for them, they want to do more surgery. Maybe for them, they want to do more endo. It's just a year of paid CE. So life, I don't know, it can be very long. People say life is short, but life in private practice, it's decades long. So compliment you. What if you said, hey, where do you feel like you have an opportunity for improvement? Or like when you go into practice at your new location, what's an area of dentistry? I always have your dental core here. So we don't want people to cry inside. It's easy to cry inside when you're in dentistry. So if you thought about your mind skills, your patient communication, clinical or leadership, where would you wish you could get some help or more training in, would you say?
I'm probably root canals and maybe extractions. We didn't really, I think I did like one root canal in dental school and a handful of extractions. So those are some things that I definitely, when I interviewed and was looking at the job, I wanted to make sure that there was plenty of opportunity to do those things, because I had a lot of friends that had been out of dental school that were working in California, and they had been out for 3 or 4 years and had, done less than maybe 10 root canals, because they were all being referred to specialists because a lot of people want to live in California. So there are a lot of dentists.
And also, there's just a delicate balance. Like if you were my awesome associate, you're like, I want to do this molar root canal. You're like, how long will it take? 3 visits of 2 hours. I'm like, Millie may not sit for that, right? Because in private practices, they were so improving that's so important. So I encourage you, everyone watching, text fetch this number. These are the courses, Rachel, people can jot down in the chat. Sweating Less while Extracting Teeth by Dr. Carl Kroner. He's an amazing GP. Get that course and watch it. Brett Gilbert and Scott Levy have done multiple endo courses on troubleshooting. So you get a $200 CE gift code, get some on-demand courses, listen while you're working out, while you're between making TikToks, because we want to help you feel more confident and comfortable. So thanks so much, Rachel.
Awesome, thank you.
Drop your info in the chat. And if you can hang around for a little bit, we might all chat at the end here. Thanks so much. So you see from Rachel, I give her so much credit. You can drop back whenever you're ready, Rachel, but for sharing her story, coming on, give her a huge Zoom round of applause. If you know someone in Oklahoma, maybe introduce her as a friend. So the next person I would like to bring up to chat with us is Gabriella. Gabriella, come up. We have an awesome female dentist coming up next. Hey, Gabriella. So same here. Tell us a little bit about where you are, what you decided to do after dental school. You may be doing it right now, obviously, and give us like a little rundown of that.
Sure. Well, same as the last person right now. I just graduated right now in May of 2021. I'm local here to South Florida, and I just started private practice about 2 weeks ago. So I took the plunge and I started right away. Yeah, I'm excited.
Tell us about this decision tree, because Ken decides to do a GPR, Jordan and Rachel decide to do private practice, just because it's just helpful to break down decisions. What was your why of skipping a GPR AEGD and going to private practice? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was kind of limited because I had family nearby. I had my 2 kids in dental school. So I was kind of limited to traveling. I couldn't travel too far. And I kind of felt like I knew I had a lot to learn, but I was confident enough in my clinical abilities and in my soft skills. And I thought I could take the plunge and go right into work. So I saw a lot of friends going into specialties and GPR. So I definitely considered it at one point, but I felt confident enough in my abilities and what I learned so far.
One of the things that really bothers me about dental school mentality, whether it's with clinical decision-making or life decision-making, is the opposite of your decision isn't great or terrible. It's just a different decision, right? It doesn't have to be so dramatic. It can be good for you, great for someone else. Great for you, not so good for someone else. And one of my favorite people on earth, Brandon Labe, who probably is embarrassed I'm shouting him out, he asked, do GPR programs care about applicant location? Because he's considering applying to some in Texas, Utah, and Alabama. And what you shared so authentically, Gabrielle, is having 2 young kids, you just can't pick up and go wherever you want to, right?
Yeah.
Brandon currently does not have 2 small humans living in his house. So his decision tree, Ken, it sounded like he went to Seattle. Some of the people I share is this may be a good time to travel and live in another place. So you're in Florida. Tell us a little bit about private practice so far. Where did dental school prepare you well? And where are some opportunities for improvement where you immediately say, hey, I know I got to focus more on learning about this?
Well, I think definitely the more experience, the better. So if I had had a little bit more experience in the clinical side and a little bit more, that would have definitely been great. But I think I was prepared for the position I'm in right now. What struck me the most, obviously, is the buck kind of stops on you. You're the dentist and you make the final decision. So there's no one to, peek over your shoulder and be like, am I doing a good job? Is this the right decision? That's, you make the decision. So that was kind of the big shocker there,
Right. Yeah. When I went to my GPR, I was so into graduating from dental school. I did like a crown. I was like, oh, I wonder how many points I get for this. I go, oh, I forgot. That's over now.
Yeah,
So,
ask any questions or check off checkpoints or anything. So.
And I know, let's say when did you start looking for your job and how did you find it?
I've heard of people getting jobs in December. So I was kind of getting worried if by December I didn't have a job already lined up. But I was told by some friends that if I didn't have a job in December, it's okay. A lot of private practices, they want someone, they start looking kind of a month ahead of when they want to have someone. So it's okay. So I kind of waited because I was interested in the private practice field area. So I thought it was okay to wait a little bit, but I started looking around December, January.
Cool. And what platforms did you use to look for those jobs?
Everything online, any kind of Google search engine that you could use to find a job. I used all of those, and kind of just word of mouth, talking to anyone I could find that was kind of in the field already and seeing what they had.
Awesome. And that's what we're trying to be part of the solution with Job Connect, because we just had someone listed $300,000 associate position in Kentucky recently because he really needs someone to go there. So there's some unique opportunities. So the more you search, the better. Thanks so much, Gabrielle. Put your information in the chat. Hang around with us a little bit more. Good luck. You're starting private practice. Same thing for you. Make sure you get this $200 CE gift offer. We have patient communication, endo, implants, sleep apnea, how not to cry inside, and more. So please make sure you take advantage of it. Thanks so much, Gabriella. Awesome. So we're gonna switch gears and we're gonna go to a specialist. Tom Jackson can start his video. He is a periodontist, and he graciously said he would come on and tell us why he hates class 2s and never wants to do them ever again. So Tom, tell us about your decision to be a periodontist. Thanks for being here, where you are, and a little bit about that.
Thanks, Paul. And yes, if I never have to do another class 2, I'm okay with that. So I'm here in Arkansas. In fact, in the intermission, I went and changed just so everybody could kind of figure out where I'm at. I'm about, say about an hour and a half from Memphis. So I'm in a real rural area in Arkansas. I was actually the second graduating class from Lee Common, Florida back in 2017. And then moved on to do a residency in perio at Louisville under the legend Henry Greenwell.
Awesome.
So from there, I just, kind of went home to where I'm from, and that's kind of where I've made, my forever home, or at least what I feel will be my forever home. Part of the decision-making process for me, I actually started out just wanting to do, in fact, maybe even AEGD at some point, but it was all general dentistry when I started dental school. Had no desire at all to do any kind of specialty. In fact, I cussed specialist my first couple of years, if you want me to be honest. So, because I wanted to do everything. I wanted a part of everything. And one of the things that even drew me to the dental field itself was to be a part of my community. It was huge for me to want to be able to go out and give back to all the people that I had grown up with.
That's awesome.
I actually grew up farming, and it's a pretty poor community around here. And it's like they would get the straw off their back, and that's what I wanted to do, was come back and do what a lot of people from my town don't do. I mean, I graduated with 56
cool.
from high school. So as we went on, I got into the second year, going third year, clinic, really starts to ramp up. And I found that this was not for me. Like, I did not enjoy general dentistry. I would come to school and dread seeing the procedure on the screen.
I think this is very good to talk about, because there's so many people who become specialists after a few years in private practice, which is awesome, because maybe they're sitting there thinking this isn't for me. I mean, to me, being a general dentist, you have to do so many different procedures well. It's very difficult. What are some of the things that helped you make this mindset shift where you said general dentistry is not for me?
So if you want the honest answer, it was, I was sitting on a date with my girlfriend at the time, and the perio director walked through and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you." So I got up, left my date for an hour, and talked to him about what he said was, like, I've seen, basically he came out and said, I see you enjoy perio. And again, one of the things that I really liked about general dentistry was building my community, and perio, or being a part of my community. And perio isn't if you will, a prescription specialty. You do see patients come in and get sent back and you never see them again. But I also have a recall list where I see it's the closest thing to a general dentist business model. And that's what I appreciated about it. And so after some hours talking with him, it came back that I enjoyed surgery. I can still be a part of my community and see patients over and over and over. This is a perfect fit for me.
And a lot of times there's ways that you can make a bigger impact on community as a specialist, because, in me being the dental nachos person, I've learned a lot about dentistry across the land. I mean, I'm from New Jersey, live in Philadelphia, a fairly populated area. So I say, if you don't refer to a prosthodontist once a month, you're nacho nuts. And people say, well, the nearest prosthodontist is 3 hours away from me. I say, oh yeah, well, that's tough. I have a good question. Was your date still there when you got back to the table after that hour perio discussion?
I got a few pictures that said, "Oh, this is a fun date," with the empty chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was still there. We had been together for a few years, so it was
Oh, gotcha.
understood.
So now we have people out there, and I've recommended I have like 4 or 5 periodontists that I have basically told to become a periodontist, and they're like, "Thanks for helping me make this decision," because they were GPR residents, and I said the specialty just has so much growth to it. Doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean it's other things are bad. Just means between implants, soft tissue grafting, people maintaining teeth and also replacing them. So tell us a little bit about it, your day in the life of your being a periodontist now. You know, are you working with multiple general dentists? Tell us a little bit about that.
It's funny you were talking about being just seeing how far people come for a prosthodontist. We actually get referrals all the way from sometimes 2.5 hours away. It's not a lie. I mean, from Little Rock to Memphis to St. Louis. I mean, I'm the only one in between all those.
Wow.
And so it's a big range to have to cover, which is great. You know, it's very population sparse, if you will, in the area, so it can't handle a bunch of specialists, but it can handle one, or two there. But so as a whole, we say that question again to make
So
sure.
I'm saying, in your day in the life, is it
Okay,
everything
here we go,
from
here we go.
non-surgical therapy, implants, soft tissue to open flap debridement? I'm just curious. I like when people just tell me what's going to be your day like tomorrow. Is it a bunch of surgeries, non-surgical stuff? Tell us about that.
One of the things I love about Perio is I get to see, I work in a couple different offices at the moment coming out. I work in one in Little Rock, just part-time, and then my main office in Jonesboro. So I get to see a general dentist and what their schedule looks like compared to mine. And usually I sit for surgeries that are really long. Most of my surgeries, they can be as short as an hour, but a lot of times we're looking at 2-3 hours per surgery, just because they're bigger. And for that, you only see a couple surgeries a day. It's not, and then consults in between. It's a very less fast paced, if you will. Not that some aren't really extremely fast paced. I'm not. My practice.
One of the things I like to highlight this, because that's a personality dependent thing. So my awesome in-office periodontist, I know his day tomorrow. I help plan it. So he's got like lateral window sinus lift, 1 implant, and then 5 implants. So he's only seeing 3 patients, but he's placing 6 implants. He's doing a lateral window sinus lift, doing this. It's not about bragging. It's about what you share was important at the time. Some people may really like that, not having to do as many, see as many people, but you're doing much more high level stuff on people, right? Lateral window sinus lift comes with certain complications that doesn't come with a single crown prep on number 19. So I think it's important that you pointed that out.
Oh, 100%. That's the big thing. You'll see me sit down, and especially with patients who drive for so far, I'll do a lot of surgery in one sitting, and it wears you out. Don't get me wrong. That 2 surgeries, you're wore out. And one of the things that I think is important is just the changes you see over that first year out. Just me, even alone, I did 3 years of a residency after dental school, and your speed, your ability to just talk to people. My goal wasn't to get faster. My goal was to treat patients right. But I can only imagine how much I learned in my first 5 years out, So it's just getting in there and doing it. And like I said, my schedule isn't just covered up. You'll get moments where it is, but overall we can always see someone else and sneak them in, which is nice for a lot of the people in the area.
Awesome. Well, love to have you share. Love what you share in dental nachos. Keep doing it. We're going to do 2 more people, and then we'll do a little panel if you still have time. If you got to go do something, no problem. But thanks so much, Tom. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So you guys have been doing awesome. So many people are hanging in here. We have 2 amazing interviews left, and then we have a special guest sponsor. Then we're going to do a panel with everybody who's still here. I want to just share with you guys a few more free codes to give you guys a break. I know you like free, so I put all these together today while I was out with the Nacho family, waiting for them at Target. Totally true story. So our Super Boost CE coming up in August, which is going to have every topping on the plate. You can watch it for free. That offer actually expires tomorrow by texting Super to 215-543-6454. To look at all of our jobs listed, just text job to that number. To get these 2 prizes, Wild is the Wild Nacho World of Practice Transitions. If you're looking to buy a practice soon, text Wild in, get that course, watch it. I break down all the steps. Fetches our $200 gift code. If you're looking to hire an associate, we can help you with that as well. We help owners daily promote their positions on Dentist Job Connect, Transcend from Ben Kellum, and we're having our in-person Nacho event in Miami. We have Nacho VIP discounted tickets. It's a truly amazing dentistry event. Just get yourself there. You're going to meet people who can change your life. You're going to meet people who make you feel better. If you're out in a location like Rachel, if you're still on, come to Miami in October, meet some people, stay in the hotel, go to the courses, have fun. It's going to be great. So we have 2 more awesome dentists to interview. Then we have Parham, one of our marketing sponsors, and please ask more questions. I see my panelist is doing a great job answering them. I'm going to bring all of those to life at the end. So I'm going to bring up Ellie, please. Ellie can start her video. Ellie's just another awesome dentist I met through the power of social media on my dad walks at like 6 a.m. last week. Ellie, thanks for being here. Tell us where you are in your dentistry career, when you graduated, and what helped you make this first decision after dental school.
Hi, everyone. Thanks first, Dr. Goodman, for having me here. I've been following dental nachos for a while.
Thanks.
And yeah, it's just great to be here, have this space to just talk about our experiences. I am a baby-aged dentist.
Oh, nice.
I just graduated UCLA class of 2021. And right now I'm sitting in Long Beach, California, where I am starting an AEGD program at the VA Medical Center in Long Beach.
Awesome. So you're staying on. Okay. Now tell us about your decision. What made you to apply to an AEGD versus go into private practice? We have Ken for AEGDs. We have other dentists here sharing. Tell us about your decision process. There's a D3 out there thinking, I'm not so sure what I want to do. Tell us what made you apply.
Yes. So I kind of always knew that I wanted to do a sort of PGY1 program during second, third year of dental school. And then COVID hit, and that was kind of like, it's just enforced more of that belief in me that, okay, this is what I need to do. Not just because we did lose out on months of clinical experience, but it's like what some people said before me is that dental school kind of gives you that base knowledge of not killing anyone in your chair, doing your basic dentistry. But one of the cons that comes with going to a school where you have other specialties in the dental school is that some procedures get taken out of your hands. And
Sure.
So endo, perio surgeries, oral surgery, and then just more complex treatment plans kind of get snatched out of your hands for reasons that we understand now as residents and dentists. And so for me, it was just kind of realizing that I wanted to provide more for my patients. And I knew that I could do that through an AEGD, that not just any AEGD, I had very specific kind of guidelines and things that I was looking for when I was applying into programs. So I knew that I wanted to offer my patients more and use that year of paid CE to kind of figure out what I would be good at, what I can offer.
That's what I looked at too. How did you pick this? So one of the things I want to, so us dentists, we're kind of negative thinkers. We always think something's going to go wrong, right? Peri-implantitis. Implants work out like 90% of the time, but all dentists want to talk about is this one time at implant band camp, an implant got peri-implantitis. People say to me, Paul, I want to do a GPR AEGD, but I heard there are some bad ones out there. I want to share, it's most likely it's going to be a good to great GPR AEGD because I've asked so many dentists if they would do it again, and 95% said yes. But picking the right program for you is important. Do you want to be on call or not on call? Tell me about this program and the other programs you applied for. How do you evaluate a program to fit your personality type, Ellie?
That's a great question. And it's also a question that in the beginning, when I started my search, I was like, okay, how do I figure out there's so many AEGD GPR programs? How do I narrow it down? The good thing is that COVID interviews were virtual. So you did have that, saved expenses of traveling.
Yeah.
But I still wanted to cast a wide enough net, but then also be selective in my choice, because if you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a year where you can either make 6 figures or you're probably going to be making $30,000 to $50,000.
Right.
But in the big picture of it, it's just that paid CE. It really kind of gives you that step forward. And so for me, one useful piece of advice that one of my faculty gave me was pick 5 things. Think 5 things that you want out of a program. And so for me, I wanted implant experience. I wanted full mouth reconstruction, treatment planning, the opportunity to do digital dentistry, oral surgery. And so those were kind of my 5 big things. And then from there, I just reached out to so many people, social media. I talked to faculty who were still in that like 5 to 10 year graduate rate that were still like not, they were like the MADs, the middle-aged dentists.
Yeah, that's me. Yes.
The MADs and the BADs who still had like resources and connections to programs that I had on my list. And then I just kind of compiled a list of questions to kind of make it more like calibrated across programs, where I asked residents and past residents from all these programs the same exact questions. So what were you looking for in a program? Did you feel like you obtained that from your program? What were the strengths? What were the weaknesses? What procedures did you do and how many of them did you do? And so with that, I kind of started to narrow down that wide net that I had cast.
Awesome. I really compliment you on going in a systematic way. I don't know if anybody's likes books, but this book is such a good book to read. If you're a dentist or a human being, if you're one of these two people, the Checklist Manifesto, and what you talked about there was you created a checklist, but creating a checklist is not writing 47 things down and checking them all. They're usually like 5 to 8 points that you put for procedure. So you really did a great job there. I compliment you. Highly recommend you get this book and read or listen to it. Tell us as we wrap up here, how's the first couple of weeks going? What's different about being a resident than a dental student? What feels the same? And what are you kind of nervously excited for?
It's been going well. I have really high hopes for our program. We're back to 110% operation at the VA. And the class before us, they kind of stepped into the middle of the pandemic. And even they said like they got so much experience. They got to do perio surgeries, oral surgery, third extractions, implants, full mouth cases. And I think it's nice because they do recognize that you are a doctor now. They kind of give you that autonomy and that space to really make it what you want it to be. And so if you want to do more molar endo, you are more than welcome to ask for that and they will accommodate that. And I think what's important is to show that you're teachable. I'm really going into it with that mindset of being a sponge because you want to be confident. And sometimes we have, we've already graduated dental school. We have our way of doing things, but there could always be a better way.
For sure. And I think that's the way, that's such a good lifelong learning thing, whether you're private practice GPR, be willing to think in a different way. I mean, if we didn't do this, we'd only have amalgams and partials is all we did. And look, we have implants, digital dentistry, things like that. So drop your information in the chat, Ellie. So appreciate you sharing. We'll have a fun panel in just a few minutes. We have one more interview from one of my favorite people. Then we're going to have our marketing sponsor share with us. So Julia, you can start your video. So I just want to share, if you don't do a GPR AEGD, you can still be my friend because Julia is one of my awesome friends and she didn't do one. But Julia, tell me before you get to that, your really interesting story about how we connected when you were a dental student. And it really shows how you took the initiative to reach out to this guy, Dr. Nacho, just a regular person. That's me, like everyone else. And what happened?
So when I was in dental school, we were given this assignment in practice management to interview a dentist. And no one in my family is a dentist. I don't really know that many dentists. And at that time, a friend of mine had added me to Dental Nachos. So I figured, well, Paul's always posting on Facebook. So, if I reach out, if he answers, he answers. If, he doesn't, then I get that he's busy. And then he answered and he was like, yeah, I'll help you with the homework assignment. And he was awesome. Answered all my questions. I got to type up the assignment, got an A. So thanks.
Yeah, and one of the things to share about this, and this isn't just about me, it encourages you to ABC, always be connecting. Reach out to Desiree Yazden if you need my friend. Reach out to Louis Chen. Reach out to Todd Fleischman. Reach out to Link Harris. Reach out to these people and just say, hey, could I pick your brain? Could I ask you something? And you want to do it in a way that makes sense. Like you had a really you were doing it for a project, and I'm like, I would have liked help with that project. So really great job doing that. You sent us a nice gift for that. So thanks. Now, tell us, even though you heard me rant and rave about GPRs, you didn't do one. We're still friends. So tell us where you're dentisting, when you graduated, how it's been, and why you didn't do a GPR.
So I graduated from UNLV in Las Vegas in 2020. And then I moved back to San Jose, California, where I grew up. And now I'm an associate for a single doctor private practice in Concord, California. As far as not applying to a GPR AEGD, it's More of it's so the culture of my school and program. When I was a first year, second year, I keep hearing upperclassmen, alumni come back and say, you know, when you're done with this program, you'll be ready to go straight into private practice and work. Like you're ready to work. And part of it also is that I started dental school a little bit later in my life. I took about 3 years off between college and dental school. So I went in kind of in the middle of the pack, and I felt like I'm a little bit quote unquote behind in starting my
I don't
career.
think you're behind, but I think that was a good why for you.
Right.
Tell us about your first jobs in private practice. How did you find them? What is something maybe someone should watch out for? I remember you said you listened to my Dr. Nacho How to Find Your Job webinar, and you went through it. It really gave you some good insight. So tell us about the jobs you have now and why they're good ones for you.
So it's finding a job as a new graduate was an interesting experience, especially going into private practice. There were a lot of corporate offers. A lot of private practice are relatively reluctant to hire a new grad just because it's hard to train a new associate, especially a new grad, while expecting them to produce at the same time. So what I did was I was on the Dental Nachos Job Connect board. I was part of my state dental association. I was on LinkedIn. And I just sent emails with my resumes. If it's close enough, I would drive there. If it's far enough, I would send them an email. And I attached my resume, use some talking points that Paul had on his podcast on how to introduce myself. And I got
right questions that people are going to, if you ask the right questions, people are going to tell you, like, why do you need an associate? We're really busy. Not so good. Someone's leaving to go to perio. Pretty good. What am I going to be paid? You eat what you kill. Not so good. We have a daily guarantee plus collections. That makes sense. So asking the right questions is so important. So were you able to find a job that you feel comfortable with now, and tell us about a day in your life being Julia, the private practice dentist.
So it's interesting because I feel like a lot of owners think that they are busier than they really are. So they kind of set up associate expectations to be like, oh, you'll go, full time in 6 months, no problem. But it's so more of my day-to-day life is a lot of bread and butter dentistry. One of my practice, the owner wants to transition more to do implant surgeries and less of the bread and butter. And so that's kind of where I am.
Share the joy of class twos with you, and that's totally okay as long as your expectations are managed. And sometimes we had a very, very spicy thing from an awesome young dentist who was upset. She has to do some hygiene, this and that. Sometimes I say you just have to be a little patient. If no one's, this is just a valuable point. If you're not being asked to do something that's illegal, immoral, or unethical or unsafe. So if they ask you to do something unsafe, no good. Illegal, no good. Immoral, no good. Unethical, no good. But if they're asking you to do some hygiene in the beginning, it's dramatic to just quit immediately. If you're doing 80% hygiene after 3 months, then that might be reasonable. But it's not easy to navigate this world out there. I compliment you for doing it. What's something you would tell yourself as a D3 now? Is there anything you would tell yourself as a D3 if you could go back and say, make sure you learn about this, make sure you watch out for this, or you're really glad you did this?
I would say be honest with your dental school experience. If you can go out in private practice and comfortably do root canals, extractions, things like that, you may want to go straight into private practice, but also consider a GPR AEGD, just because from my experience, it's hard to learn a new skill set and apply it in private practice and expect to produce within that same amount of time, because like Paul said, you'll be slow and that'll affect your production.
I also give you guys value. So when you want something, you want people to be super flexible, but you probably have heard me say this. If you were getting your hair cut and your main stylist was like, if your stylist was like, would you see a new stylist? And you said yes, You might not. And then that new stylist needed help mid-haircut. Even if they want to do the best for you, it's normal to lose confidence in that new stylist. And that stinks. It's not how the medical field is. When we had a baby, 7 residents walked in to ask questions and do stuff. But in the dental private practice world, we have to have more grace for both sides, both the owners and the associates, because being in that full contact arts and crafts environment, Julia, it can be stressful.
It definitely can be.
Awesome. Drop back for a minute. You're awesome, Julia. You're coming to Super Dentist Boost Live. Can't wait to meet you in person. So we're going to have a fun panel in just a second. As we move to the panel, I want to bring up one of our sponsors who is awesome, Parham. He does amazing things for dentists. We do not learn nearly enough. Parham, you can put your video on. We do not learn nearly enough about the business skills needed to survive, the storytelling skills. So what I would love for everyone to do now is put questions in the chat. We're going to bring up this panelist for the last 15 or 20 minutes. But as you're putting questions in, I wanted to bring you insight, a topping from our sponsor, Parham, who does what? What do you do to help dentists, Parham?
We do websites and marketing. We help dentists, get new patients, establish their reputation online. I've been doing this for 11 years. I own the doc sites. We have more than 500 dentists as clients all over the US, everywhere from middle of the road USA to the biggest cosmetic dentist here in Los Angeles. And I'm happy to share some tips and insights. I wanted to piggyback on one big thing that you mentioned, Dr. Goodman.
Sure.
Dentists are people too. Guess what? Top 3 visited page of a dental website is the doctor's bio page. Over 500 dental websites that we've done, top 3 visited page is the bio page. So your patients in the community do want to read about you. They do care about you as a person, especially the good patients. So I do want to piggyback on that.
And what I want to share, Parham, and you've been on a lot of lives with me, this is how you tell your story of what you do to help people. This is how you tell your story of how you do implants. What are you've told me about some transformative experiences with some of your clients, because dentists don't like to spend on marketing, but really it should be called spending money on helping people, helping your business. I know you've had clients that aren't always the most open-minded, but now they're using you. Give me a good success story of someone who's just like, you know what, you were right, Parham. I need to get into this internet stuff. I need to get into this website. I need to do these things. Tell me a little bit about that.
11 years ago, one of my best friends growing up, he had one dental office in Vegas. I personally paid to do a video for him. I drove there, brought a videographer there. We did a video detailing his office. And in a few years, it had over 1,000 views. I mean, back then it was less saturated in that market, but it showed the people in the community how modern the office was. It got them to meet him at the dentist. He told his story. So you don't have to do these high budget videos. You literally can get an iPhone nowadays. Recently, I just sent a dentist client of mine I've known for 5 years, one of these Amazon products that has the light. Put the phone and talk about a case you did. Right. Talk about why you got into dentistry. Share your story. Dentists are people too. I'm big on that, and make your website tell that story.
One of the things I share, Parham, is do the work while you're doing the work. I make videos daily in my office. I don't even know what I'm going to do with them. Some to train staff, some to help patients, or both. One of mine is dental insurance is super confusing. It's not even insurance. Dental insurance is more like a coupon that has blackout dates. Like when you fly on your favorite airline, we can't fly on certain days. We're going to do the best job possible to maximize the benefit of your dental insurance, which is really a coupon. Short videos like that, Parham, what's the impact that has on the consumer? I mean, you're a consumer. What when they see things like that, what do they start to think?
We all want personal connection, and guess what? I'm trusting you with my mouth, right? Don't I want to get to know you better? Maybe the older people don't care as much, but we're all younger. Everyone here looks like they're under 40 years old, I would say. And all of us watch videos. All of us go on IG. Everyone's going to check each other out.
All these grandmothers, Parham, if they see you, they're going to send you nasty text or TikTok, because my patients, who are mostly over 60, I sent a video about an implant I did to my entire patient email list. I was checking a patient on hygiene. He goes, you know what? That video did was pretty cool, because he watched it, right? So even our older patients are on Facebook, and I'm just giving you a hard time. I know.
No, I love that you corrected me, because that's true. Everyone, since the pandemic, all the older people now are getting more tech savvy. they do watch videos, they do spend time on YouTube, and my mom's on my Facebook and IG more than anything. You are right about that, actually. The other thing I want to hit on that dentists don't like to do, I actually did a dental show this morning here in LA with over 200 dentists. And one guy I met that was amazing, and I hope we get to work together. He had over 100 5-star reviews. Get those reviews, ask for those reviews, because you know what? The people who do love you, they do want to take the time to write a good experience about
You know what happens is, and we use a partner I'll put in the chat, sponsor that does it. I mean, I'll just be honest with you guys. Sometimes I read my reviews when patients get mad at me and I say, see, this person likes me. So some of it has to do with just feeling good as a person, but then they're sharing. We have over 300 reviews online now. So that's such a key point. Parham, if we have associates here who aren't practice owners, but their website is out of date, it looks like it started when the internet started, how can they reach out to you guys and you have a nacho deal for them?
Well, the best thing to do is text me directly, 818-421-8626.
Hold on, let me put it in.
818-421.
Say that one more time, Parham.
818-421-8626.
8626, okay.
And you can email me, parham@docsites.com, PARHAM @docsites.com. And what we love to do is we don't push sales. We love to educate you. We love to give you free demos, go in detail. I've personally owned my own business for 11 years. So I'm a business owner too. I'm in a service business. Maybe I don't work on teeth. I may have the skills now too after working with so many. I'm kidding. But you know what? It's a service business. And that's the bottom line. You're helping people. You're changing their lives. And the truth is, with dentistry, after I get my teeth cleaning, I become so happy that day. And people need to know that when you're a dentist, you do change people's lives.
I always say to people,
get it out there.
I mean, and so I really appreciate you jumping on, Sharon, before our Q&A panel. You can text DocSites to 215-543-6454. You can text Parham 818-421-8626. I know you guys have great nacho deals, super affordable, but amazing. So thanks so much, Parham. Stay around in the chat and you can share some stuff. But now you could drop back, Parham. So any panelists who's still here, pop on and we're going to have a fun round robin questions. Great. Thanks, Ben. You said someone else had to do bedtime. You're working, right, Ben? You go do bedtime to your wife.
Yeah, yeah. If
Awesome.
I have to put kids to sleep if I'm not doing this, so I'm really stalling this out. So yeah.
You guys did a great job answering some of these in chat, but I'm gonna say your name. I'm gonna ask you to answer this question, and I like this most previous question first. So, what should I focus on in my last year of dental school before applying to private practice? What dental school skills will make me an attractive applicant? Ken, I want to start with you. You can unmute you. Think of giving like a 60-second value-based answer. Hey, go back to D4 year. You're going to apply to private practice. What skills will make you most attractive? What should you work on? Ken, you go first.
First and foremost, how to communicate to staff, people, and patients. At the end of the day, if you can't communicate to anyone, you're not going to do anything at all. If you can communicate and just see people, not as pocketbooks or as procedures, you're going to go extremely far with your applying to any practice at all.
I'm glad you said so. I can do like 4 things well. I know I can talk to people. I can make videos. I'm bad with directions. I can't cook anything. I lose my AirPods when they're in my ears, but I will share that I read a lot, I talk a lot, and I really have strive to do patient communication. So the patient coming in tomorrow for 5 implants, To Sell Is Human by Daniel Pink is one of the best books I've ever read or listened to. And they talk about the Pixar pitch. So the Pixar pitch is you have to get your point across in 7 seconds. So the person coming tomorrow for to start a $20,000 implant case, not bragging. Doesn't matter if it's 2,000 or 20,000. This was it. I said, I'm going to do the Pixar pitch on you. I told him this, right? I said here, because he said his denture was fine, Tom. He said, I don't need implants, Ben. It's fine. I said, you're 55 years old. So this is what I said. Would you be interested in a solution that prevented the bone on the top of your jaw from melting away? And then I didn't say anything else. It's like 10 words. And that Pixar pitch is a great way to talk to people. What happens if you do nothing, John Coyce? So key. To Sell Is Human, we have numerous communication courses on our NachoFlix platform. Text Fetch to 215-543-6454. You can listen to me nonstop. My sister was just on vacation with me, said it was great to listen to me nonstop. Thanks. Let me go to Julia. What would you say? Last year of dental school, what would you focus on?
Last year of dental school, I would say being proficient in quadrant restorative dentistry would be very helpful. Anterior endo, learning how to take out teeth atraumatically. Those skills, if you're able to have the endo and the extraction experience, I feel like doing those would help a lot to start in private practice.
Great ones. Now let's go. Gabrielle, you're in private practice, so same to you. It would be great. I don't know what year she is. She can tell us. I never like to say, HIPAA doesn't apply to Zoom, but I don't say people's name unless they tell me. I'm very afraid of HIPAA at all times. I don't see the HIPAA at the Zoom. Not worth it. So I won't say her name. If she wants to say she's a D2 or D3, but maybe she's an upcoming D4. What would you say, Gabrielle? What would make you attractive as a private practice applicant?
I think D4, the most important thing I would say is just pick everyone's brain. Every professor, oral surgery, endodontist, spend the time. You get as much as you put into you get as much as you put in. So the more you pick everyone's brain, the more you're going to get those little tips and tricks along the way. And they're going to feed off of that during the interview, and definitely try to get as much mentoring as possible.
Awesome, Gabrielle. Jordan, we'll go to you.
Yeah. So last year, again, I chose not to do residency. I knew that before my last year. So I treated my last year as my residency. And the way I did that is if I didn't have a patient and I was going around, because there's all these faculty that are just sitting there and waiting for start checks, I'd say, hey, let's go to each operatory if you don't mind. And can I look at the x-ray, tell you what I see, what I diagnose, and then you can tell me what you think. Because I'm going to be independent dentist making my own decisions in the next year. So I want to see, what are your thoughts? And if we disagree, great. Why did I miss? What did I not see? And if I was right, awesome. And then last thing is, if you're going to get a job, you know what? No dental owner or any employer wants you to come in and say, okay, where's my patients? Can you feed my plate? Well, I want to be able to feed my own plate. So what I did a lot of is I went out, I was in San Francisco. There's a lot of people in San Francisco that needed a dentist, because everyone who has teeth or doesn't have teeth needs a dentist. And so I went out there, our school had business cards, and I was able to get quite a few patients to come into the school, because it's a great service to come into the school. So that was the two things that I really focused on.
And Jordan, I want to make sure, I want to go through your entire presentation on another Zoom. It's start of camp for the 7-year-old moderator tomorrow. So I have about 16 more minutes until I said we'd watch a movie before our first day of camp. But I want to go through your amazing presentation. And that's such good advice. It sounds like, Jordan, Julia, he's doing something that I talk about a lot: kindly annoying someone to help you. Don't annoy person, kindly annoy people. Like I'll kindly annoy you. Text super to 215-543-6454. Yeah, you might get some text from us, but you're going to get a pass to a free C course. I'm kindly annoying you to make a good decision.
If you are a dental student, you are a customer of the school. These are faculty that you help pay their salary for, because you are paying your tuition. So if you're there and you're on the clinic floor while they're working, that's what they should be there for, in my personal opinion.
Awesome. Ben, how about you? D4 year going into private practice, what skills would you focus on?
I really love the idea of picking the brains of a lot of the professors. I think that's critical. Not the obnoxious professors that want to talk about something, all the academia, but the ones that are actually willing to kind of show you different perspectives on things. I think if I was looking for an associate, humility, the way that you treat the staff and patients, the way that you communicate in a way. If I see residents come in and treat our assistants like garbage, it's one of the most off-putting things to me. Yeah. It immediately makes me feel like they do not have respect for people. And so I don't care if they cut a crown prep in 5 seconds and it's perfect. If you can't treat other people kindly, that you view as maybe your subordinate or whatever, then I think that's a very negative detracting.
I want to say that that's so important. So one of my favorite people is Kristen Bell. I don't know her. Maybe I'll meet her one day. But she gave a whole speech for a college campus, a college graduation, how she has gone far in life by just being nice. And then she was on this podcast. Please look it up with Jay Shetty. It's phenomenal. Kristen Bell and Jay Shetty. I put on Dental Nachos. And her final message there was, a lot of people say be kind to people, which is great, but that's not very specific. So my message is, don't be a jerk. And that's so important. Don't be a jerk to the people who work at the program. Don't be a jerk to the person who runs the hospital. It's such a key point for success. Tom, how about you? D4 going into the real world, what skills would you focus on?
I really agree a lot with what's been said. I think the biggest thing that I tell a lot of them, and I get to talk to some of the dental students going through, is treatment planning. Learn a treatment plan. You can talk all day long. It doesn't matter if you don't know what you're doing. It doesn't matter. You need to be able to treatment plan and have the confidence to talk to your patients about what you're going to do. It goes a long, long way.
Awesome. I think it's key. That resonates with you as a periodontist because you can only do your job depending on how your general dentist does. There's so much teamwork involved. I'll bring out my failed dreams of dunking on a basketball hoop or playing in the NBA, but it's all teamwork. And you see, look, it's right now at this recording, it's Suns versus the Bucks, and the Suns won the first 2 games. The Bucks won the next 3 for the NBA Finals, and we're talking to the best teams out there. So it's so key to do that. I really think that's awesome. Ellie, how about you?
Yes, I also second what everyone else said. My 4th year, I had green slipped a lot of patients. So basically green slipping, what like Jordan said, is I went out, Uber drivers, people at movie premieres would give them my card, and that gave me a lot of work to do on my own, not really waiting for things to get given to me. 4th year, I found a job as a dental assistant, and I committed 1 day a week to do that. And that kind of allowed me to see how dentists out there are doing it, like how they do their work. And that gave me access to pick up temporary dental assisting jobs. So I was at different practices every now and then. That also gave me insight on how dentists talk to their patients, how they present their treatment plans. Even seeing like, okay, there's an x-ray, what do they see? What do they recommend? And I thought that was really invaluable because it kind of got my head out of dental school and thinking what's after.
I really compliment getting a job as a dental assistant, being in a dental office, so key. So a great question came in. Someone Ken had answered about the professional help for a resume, which is an awesome question, but this is really one of my favorites. What tips do you have for students in their first few years of dental school for networking for your first job or GPR? So I always say finding your first job or getting into GPR starts day 1 of D1. Doesn't mean applying. And what does this mean? So my tip for you, even though I have tons of tips, is don't be dental student cheap. And what this means is I'm in Philadelphia and I'll pick on Julia. I say, hey, Julia, I have this CE course. It costs $300 for regular dentists to go. It costs $50 for you. You will get to meet all these awesome dentists. You don't even cover your food. I'm paying for you, Julia. I don't have any money. I go, oh man, I was on Instagram and you were at the beach. Where'd you get the money for that $20 old fashioned? And I say this with the most glory or genuine kind annoyance. Invest in yourself in not your ordinary ways. So this is what you do. Look for local CE run by a periodontist, oral surgeon, endodontist. Call them up and say, I know it's $1,500 for the year. Do you have a student discount? Most people like me or Ben or Tom are going to say, fine, pay us $250. You don't want free. You don't value free. And just go and show up because Dr. Todd Fleischman, go to theDentalAmigos.com, listen to the Todd Fleischman episode. If you can grab it, Serena, and put it in there. That is my friend. Just tell us a quick story. When he got out of his GPR, he said, I'm going to this study club. I don't care if I'm the youngest person. I'll pay the money. It's back in 2006. I'll ask questions, things like that. Yada, 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 like a Seinfeld thing. When one of the dentists in that study club became sick and needed someone to buy his practice, the periodontist at that study club said, Todd Fleischman's your guy. And he owns an amazing fee-for-service practice because he JSU just showed up early. So my message is go to local CE, even if it's not your area, meet older dentists, talk to them. Ben, what's your networking tip? You're still muted. Sorry, you're being polite, but.
So as a program director, on the AEGD GPR side of things, it's a little bit trickier. I went and visited a ton of programs when I was looking for it for a program. I would recommend program director is going to tell you whatever. I mean, they'd ask me questions. I can lie to your face, and so will other program directors. You want to ask, do you mind if I can talk to the residents? You want to spend 5% of your time talking to the program director and 95% talking to the residents and to the assistants, because they're going to tell you, oh, this is terrible. Or they're going to, the program director say, oh, you're going to do a lot of implants. And the resident said, I don't even know what an implant looks like. And that's the kind of perspective you want. So if you're trying to look in on the program or residency side of things, visiting is crucial. And then also getting connected with the residents themselves that are actually in it and saying, hey, what's the real deal on this? And making a priority list of what it is that you want from a residency. I do not want to treat special needs children or treat ortho. And that immediately ruled out programs. So make a list of what your wants are, so that when you talk to people, you can rule out places.
So key, COVID influenced, but I said all the time, go visit, put yourself in those programs, feel the energy, see what goes on. Ken, what's your networking tip for a young dental student who wants to go out there motivated? They might even spend a little money, Ken, right? They might even take their mojito money and spend it on it, right? But what's your tip? What do you want them to do?
I'm a co-sign with Ellie. She said person to reach out to people. I mean, like she said, go to the quick Q&A, social media, externing, shadowing, just asking questions, go to society meetings. And I'll tell them, talk to anyone and everyone that's in the industry that's willing to talk to you. If you stay humble and teachable, people are going to invest in you. And like Paul said, the greatest investment is in yourself. So if you just ask questions, someone's going to have the answer. You may run into stumbling blocks and barriers, but then go right around it. Don't let anything get in the way of your success.
Such great value there. And that's what, you can start. That's one of the greatest things. You don't have to do crown preps or extract teeth to do that. You just got to be a person. Jordan said go to labs, things like that. So what I want to do is, in our last wrap up, so before I go to this movie, I want you guys to do this. I want to ask you guys a question. And if you've been on Talking Nachos, you know this is usually the end. What did you learn tonight from someone else? What resonated with you? What might help you tomorrow as a panelist? You guys are so kind to dedicate 90 minutes of your life to help future dentists. We recorded it. It's going to go viral. If you could help us with that, Ellie or Gabrielle, just make it go viral. I'm not sure. Make it go viral so people will see you for years to come. But what's just a quick thing that you learned tonight from one of the other panelists, from one of the Q&As, things like that? Julia, I'll start with you. What's something that you learned or resonated or thought that was interesting, or even reinforce something that you found important?
So what I've learned tonight is everyone's had very different life experiences. That doesn't mean that your life or their life is necessarily harder or easier. Just that everyone's life is different, and should, this is exactly why you should treat everyone with just kindness and be open to their life experience, and treat them kindly.
You should just talk to every dental student on the first day of dental school, and then be like, no matter what what make you do to compete, you should do that. That's awesome. Tom, how about you?
I think the biggest thing that I saw was the fact that we all had different, it kind of follows what she said, but everybody had their own path to get to where they are successful. But the one thing that we all did was reached out to somebody. We used I wouldn't say used in the sense that we used them, but we used other people to learn more, to get further in life. And I think that's always reaching, always grabbing, always trying to be a little bit better than we were yesterday.
It's so key. Lincoln Harris, if you're not a member of RIPE, does anyone not know RIPE? I don't admit it. It's a 70,000 member Facebook group only for dentists. He's amazing, Lincoln Harris. He came here 3 years ago. We walked around Philadelphia. He's from Australia. And he says, Paul, nobody sees the middle part of your story. They always see the beginning and the end. And the middle part is a challenge for all of us. Maybe people have a lot of money, but they have other problems. People don't have any money than this. So I think that's such an important part of just not being too judgmental about people in general, especially each other. Jordan, how about you?
Well, as clinicians and dentists in general, I think that we've all hopefully committed ourselves to lifelong learning. And what I see from the people that are here is that all of us are looking to do that. And I think that's just inspiring to me to move forward and press forward, and to see that maybe what Ben does and the way he lives his life is different than I do, or maybe Paul, Dr. Nacho, does something different than I do. I think it's just interesting to hear all of our experiences. So what I learned is that there's 9 faces on my screen, and there's still 38 people here, hearing about all of our stories. And I think it's just awesome. So
yeah,
great
nine new friends, and that's really great. Ellie, you were kind enough to you don't even know me barely at all. You came on. I'm so appreciative. Same with Gabriella, the rest of this crew that kind of I know through Facebook and things like that. Tell us about what you learned tonight or what you found interesting.
I feel like I know you.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
I really was surprised by Jordan. He posted a link to his portfolio, and I think that was pretty neat to have that, especially as a recent graduate, kind of just and it's more of a specific thing that I was oh, that's a good idea to kind of keep ourselves on track of we like to see progress in our life. The moment that we don't see that we're progressing or we're getting better is kind of where that stamina begins to kind of slow down. And so I like that. I love taking pictures. I love capturing moments in life. And I kind of parallel that to dentistry. And I want to see my work get better. I want to show my value to the people who are going to be hiring me one day, to my coworkers, and kind of just to keep myself motivated. And, you know, and it's not going to be those Instagram picture perfect cases that you see all the
For
time.
sure.
That's not reality.
And that's not what your patients need from either. What's kind of cool, and I can probably say this, I know I'm the oldest dentist in person, but some of your patients really become your friends, and that's very cool. Now, just like if you're going on a trip, you know, I invite all your friends. Some of your friends are a little high maintenance, so some of your patients, but when you can develop those relationships with people based on the things you do from them, that's just so awesome. Ben, how about you? Oh, sorry, you're muted still.
So a couple things. One, I guess, is you know, you are not alone is sort of one thing that I think is really important, and dentistry can be very isolating, but where dentists is about helping people, and some of those are patients and some of those are other dentists. Some of our job and our role as a dentist is to help other dentists and to be there for other dentists and to be a network and a support for other dentists. Otherwise, you're going to get beat up real bad if you're alone. So being there with other dentists to walk through what is a challenging profession at times. And that for every jerk dentist that you meet, there's 10 that are nice that are willing to help you.
That's so true. I mean, my most favorite thing is hope everybody comes to Philadelphia, meets me in person, sees that I truly am a friendly tornado. I talk fast, I move fast, but I hope to meet people face to face. My second favorite thing of doing all this is dentists meet each other in the real world because of dental nachos that have never met me. They meet at study clubs, they do stuff, and we just need more of that connection because what you said is so key. Being a dentist can feel very lonely even when you're surrounded by people because your team is great, but they can't take out a tooth for you. Your front desk is awesome, but they can't always handle something. So I think that's so key. Ben, Gabrielle, we'll finish up with you.
I think just to harp on that, that's basically what I have in mind to say. What we're doing right now is basically a support system, and that's basically what got me through all of dental school and to the point that I am right now. And I think it's very healthy for us to be discussing different paths and what we're all thinking and how to grow, how to motivate. And I think it's important to keep that going throughout our path in dentistry, especially right now in private practice for the first time. I think it's very important to have these kind of support systems.
I love that. That's what we're just trying to do, feel like you matter. And I think best as I wrap up, owning a dental practice is like having a 3-year-old child that never grows up. I happen to have a 3-year-old child in my house, and some of it's awesome, all of it's exhausting. And having a dental practice and dental careers like that. So we'll have more of these episodes, but one of the things I encourage my wife to do, who's a little more introverted than me, shocker, but was to join a new moms group. And she made friends at that new moms group that she has now 7 years later, and they are her friends that stand by her. So whether you have children or not, having children's great, not having them also sounds very relaxing. So no judgment there, but we're all dentists. And that's why I want to leave us with, when we go to our next episode of this, Practice Ownership, if you've stayed this long, if you text PPO to this number, we will give you a 3-hour course on how to understand dental insurance, because dental insurance is one of the most challenging parts of being a dentist. And that's why I'm envious of you, Ben, and envious when I do Halo cases, because sometimes when you do cases totally for free, they are the most relaxing cases to do, but all of us are going to be asking about this. So our next episode, after our kindness and getting together, will be how to deal with dental insurance. And I hope you guys all come back for that. So appreciative of your time. Hope you guys come to Philadelphia. Thanks so much, guys. You guys are truly awesome. Thanks for being here. I'll leave this up for a minute or two if you guys have any last minute questions, but just really was just an awesome Sunday. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Nice meeting everyone.
Honored.
Anyone who's still here in the chat, attendees, I'm going to leave an email. If you didn't get a question answered, we have a Salsa hotline. That's a real thing. You can email salsa@dentalnachos.com. You can also text Salsa to this number. If you have any Dear Dr. Nacho Abby questions, we will get them posted anonymously. And thanks so much, everybody.